Welcome back to The Charismatic Voice. Today we're going to be checking out an artist that I've been really curious about for a long time. Her name is Annapantsu. Now, I haven't heard her before. I don't know if it's going to be just a Disney-ish voice or if it's going to have vocal layering. I'm not sure. I've just heard tons of good things about her, and then people said, oh, you just have to listen. So I'm really excited to actually get to hear her for the first time. She does a lot of Disney covers, and one in particular has been one of her most famous songs. This is a cover of Prince Ali from Aladdin with original music by Alan Menken. Now, this original video that she made in 2015, when I think she was only 15 years old, by the way, that endured a copyright block. And so as a result, she had to remake it. Anna, I'm so sorry, first of all, that you had to have that block. That sucks. It is no fun to deal with. And I'm so glad that you remade it. So I'm really excited to get to hear it still. And when I was reading about her and about this song, there wasn't too much out there, but there was a really lovely and personal note that she wrote in the description of the video, some of which I thought was just really thoughtful and almost revealing about how she feels about the song. So I'm going to read a little bit of it. She talks about the copyright block, and then she says, let's be real for a second though. Vocally, this is something I'd never sing in real life. It's so far out of the realm of things that I can sing reliably, but people are big fans of this cover. I've never been a big fan of the way I sound singing this song. And then she goes on and says later, it's stupid high, very straining on the voice. And she even says later that it really took a toll on her voice. I think that shows so much self-awareness, but I'm also really excited to hear what she sounded like belting super high notes as a 15-year-old. So let's get to it.
New star, oh come be the first on your block to meet his eye. Make way, here he comes, ring bells, beat the drum. You're gonna love this guy.
Okay, I'm gonna pause before we get to the chorus. First impression is that she reminds me absolutely of musical theater, Broadway style of singing. And also particularly Disney on Broadway. I'm thinking about Frozen, and I'm thinking about Anna, which is kind of ironic, but Anna's role in Frozen, that sort of youthful vibrancy, she would be so good in that. Okay, let's go back and let's keep going.
Make way, here he comes, ring bells, beat the drum. You're gonna love this guy. Prince Ali, fabulous, genuflect, show some respect down on one knee. Now try your best to stay calm, brush off your Sunday salon, and come and meet a spectacular quarter. Prince Ali.
It's really high to belt. That's really high to belt. Did I mention that's high to belt? Not only that, it's on an E vowel, which is also, ooh, that like sends it straight forward. Just like, let's check some notes here. So she's currently belting up to an F5 continuously, but then she even did like a little squeak, which went higher. Oh, yeah, well, honestly, E vowels can be a bit tough to belt because they make it a little narrower. When you sing much higher, you usually want to like drop your jaw a little bit more, and that lets the tongue also get off of the larynx some. But yeah, it's a little tight, but it's pretty incredible. Really. Okay, let's go back a little bit. I want to catch what was that. She slid up to a note at one point that was crazy, even higher to belt.
Sunday salon, and come and meet a spectacular quarter.
I don't know. When she goes up to ow there, that note is even higher, but it's kind of like just toss off, not really sustained, so I don't know if we can count it, but it's really impressive. voices were so good. Oh man, that like made me like tear up a little bit with laughter. That was so good. She should be a voice actress. What does she do? Well, she should be a YouTube star, and she is a YouTube star. So go her.
First the Galloping Lords. 100 bad guys with swords. Who sent his gold to that Lord? Why, Prince Ali?
I love her already. Okay. It's amazing when she does the voices too. She still has incredible diction. This is some of the clearest diction I have heard on this channel. Her diction is stunning. And that's not surprising because in musical theater, it's one of the more important facets. You really need to be able to relate the story through your voice. And often you don't get to have like 10 billion choruses to relate that story. On the radio, people can listen to your song over and over and over. And there's even some trends where people want to have a little more mush mouth to make a lot of the diction a lot softer. Musical theater, it's got to be super, super crisp. And hers is. All right, let's go back. No, who's joking? I want to hear the funny voice.
Definitely. First the Galloping Lords. 100 bad guys with swords. Who sent his gold to that Lord? Why, Prince Ali?
Okay, I'm sorry guys. She even does like a little growl on why. Like a little, it's like a little fry actually that I think she adds. Let's go back.
100 bad guys with swords. Who sent his gold to that Lord? Why, Prince Ali?
That's cool.
He's got 75 golden camels. From the big bush, he's got 53. When it comes to exotic type mammals, has he got a zoo? I'm telling you, it's a worthless menagerie. Prince Ali.
Wow. Oh, there's a key change in this song. That's right. Oh, poor thing. Oh, she's going to have to sustain that high belt up there. Oh, ow. Wow. Guys, this is really, really high, and it stays really high on an E vowel, which is closed up there, which just sends it straight forward. No wonder it takes a toll on her voice. I'm super impressed you can do this at all. Like, I looked at a lot of other really famous singers that have high belts, and I'd be like, can you do this? Question mark. Now, if she was 15, it's a lot easier to get away with that when you're 15 than when you're 30. But it's just, I still think it's super impressive. All right, transition time.
Has he got a zoo? I'm telling you, it's a worthless menagerie. Prince Ali, that physique, how can I speak? Weak at the knees. Well, get on out in that square. Adjust your veil and prepare to go get grovel and stare at Prince Ali. He's got 95
I think I do hear a little bit of post-processing on that. That's fine. You know, this doesn't sound like it's supposed to be totally void of processing. It sounds like maybe we had a little bit of Melodyne in there. Just, I heard like a little like, it might also just be that the verb, I would like a slightly different verb on her voice. But just so you know, like, I don't know of a singer who sends out a produced record and doesn't use some sort of tuning. I literally don't know of one. And I've worked on some bigger names too, which I can't really talk about. So, just so you know, that happens, and I hear a little bit of it here, I think, or it might just be a slightly different verb, or maybe that it was like a little boxy in her recording space. Those are all different things that could be contributing to it. It is still blowing my mind that she can belt this high, even if you're going to process that afterwards. If you try and shift a note so it's like a full step up, it just sounds weird. Like that is something you can't shift it very much. Maybe if it's like a teensy bit, like if it was really strained and it fell a little flat on her that day or something, she could shift it up a little bit. But if you shift a note a step up, it sounds awful. And this doesn't sound awful. So that's not what's happened. I was thinking like, oh, maybe she like Maybe she bumped it up. Maybe it was a little sharp. Who knows? It sounded like I heard a little something in there, but I totally believe that she can belt these notes out that high. Whew, it's impressive. He's got 19 birds and monkeys, and to use all he charges no fee. He's got slaves, he's got servants and flunkies. They bounce with nothing and then it's lousy with loyalty. I never knew that this song contained the word flunky, and that makes me really happy. Just a second. So she's busy belting out G's right now. She's like belting G5s over and over, and she sometimes has to have an octave jump to get up to them. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this before. This song was nominated for a Golden Globe Award, I think in 1993. Robin Williams was the original Genie. I love him so much. And it definitely seems like it would fit better in a male's voice than a female's voice, which is part of the reason why it's so astonishing that she even can sing this. It's great. Okay, let's catch that again. Heard your princess was a sight lovely to see, and that the people is why he got thumbed up and dropped by. Since the elephant's mama's good, his bears and lions are breast and organs, 40 bakers, his books and bakers, his birds that warble on key. Make way for that was really interesting to hear that shift at the end. So she went into her head voice. The rest of the time she's been belting it full chest voice the entire time. It's crazy difficult. It's crazy that she can belt that high. I've never belted a note that high in my life. Then again, opera training. But even for people that work on tons of belting, that's just super, super difficult. I'm really impressed. At the end though, she went to head voice, and that's where you got that like more operatic sound. You hear a lot more vibrato in there. You hear a sound that tends to get a little bit more domey, right? So it doesn't have as much of that zing forward. And we heard that domey sound. I think she had a high C. Yeah, I think she goes for a high C at the end, which I didn't know she could sing in her head voice like that. That was a very surprising ending. I do wish her voice had been mixed further forward. She's a little quiet. I'd love it further forward. But let's go back and hear that one more time. Yeah, she has a nice vibrato too that she pulls in there a little bit. The last note could have had a tiny bit more, but it sounded really good. Smart girl, she's also modifying those vowels, which is good. So she's not saying make way for Prince Ali. She's saying make way for Prince Ali. So what I talked about earlier about needing to sort of open the mouth more for E vowels to sit right, she does that here in her head voice really, really nicely. You can tell it doesn't have the same clarity of words, but that's partly just because she needs to modify it. Very nice. When I hear voices like Anna's here, I immediately think about all of the different roles I would love for them to sing. And it was so funny as it was going through, I was thinking about like, oh, this musical theater role, this one, this one, this one. Oh, but wouldn't it be so cool if she were a Disney princess? Oh man, it'd be so fun to see her like working at Disneyland, singing in some of the shows. Ah, yeah. I'd just love to hear more of her. I love what she's done with this whole thing overall. It's incredibly difficult to sing and belt this. I totally get why she probably wouldn't do it live. That would be just exhausting, the kind of exhausting that makes you not able to sing an entire concert. But dang it, it would be really fun to hear part of that live. Maybe just like a snippet. I kind of want to hear just a snippet of it live someday. Really, really cool though overall to have the moments of break in between when the chorus is singing. And I'm curious who those chorus voices were made up of. Particularly curious about that. But amidst all of it, with her crazy high belt, really funny voices, this consistent, clear diction is baller. She just chews through those words. It is so easy to understand her. I loved that aspect. So kudos to Anna for having fantastic diction, in addition to really great technique at 15 years old. Whew! What were you doing at 15, right? It's just incredible. Thank you to everyone who made this recommendation. There were just a few of you in the YouTube comments, but there were a bunch of people in real life that were like, oh my gosh, Annapantsu, Annapantsu, Annapantsu. So I'm so glad that you guys recommended her and I got to listen to her and her crazy high belt. Really, really fun. And if you want to keep making recommendations, please do so in the YouTube comments. That's where we look for recommendations and tally them to know what videos you'd like to hear most. You can also come and say hello to me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. And if you don't want to miss out on notifications for that, do subscribe and turn on the bell to allow the notifications, okay? And you can find me on Patreon and on my website, thecharismaticvoice.com. All the good places. I'll hope to see you somewhere soon. Thanks. Bye.